dimension of imagination. I stood at the table for the signing of the Declaration of Independence. I was there as the last spike was driven into the ground when the Transcontinental Railroad was finished. I played trombone in John Philip Sousa's band. I lived in old Budapest through Molnar plays. I've traveled to the stars and back. I sired kings and lived through Lexington and Concord. I go back to Pancho Villa. I'm a star. Don't you understand that? I'm a star. Even those of you, and you know who you are, have some slight conception of a star. On a stage spanning several generations, I'm a rage. There's my face in every program, never less than a page. And there is no law written, spoken, made by man or God thus far, that is not there to be broken by a star. You probably don't remember me. There aren't many left who do. Only you. You've always been here. Catherine, my wife, my Gibraltar. And I'm her Stonehenge. Enigmatic, hard to figure out. Maybe enigmatic is just another word for describing shallow people who appear to be deep. There you are, my dear. This is a love story. Hers and mine. And mine and... Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'm here to resurrect forgotten dreams and unfulfilled promises. To once again feel the warmth of your appreciation. Yes, Catherine. Yours too. I promise, my dear, if not for you, I wouldn't be here. If not for you too. Well, whether you remember me or not, I'm going to tell you my story, our story, as much as I can remember. You'll get the picture. You know, a third of Stonehenge is missing, but we still know what it's supposed to look like. We just don't know what the hell it means. What does it take to make a star? Is it enough to just aspire? Just kindly watch me as I walk. This is a walk one can't acquire. A special presence and a flair. Sometimes a baffling inner light. Just watch my shoulders as I turn. My shoulders actually recite. Tonight you'll see how life can be. What it's like to live with me. I'm a star. Have you any understanding of a star? Stars are generally regarded from afar, but fate goes wild, and here we are. And there is no law written, spoken, made by man or God thus far, that is not there to be broken by a star. Who knows what a life means?
Well, we know now, don't we, Prez?
Folks, an introduction is in order. Allow me to present my chauffeur, my dresser, and my friend of many years, Jimmy Davidson. Jimmy has a wonderful crackling sense of humor.
What do you call him, a cracker, white boy?
Did I mention he was black?
Damn right. As black as my mama's behind. And the inside
Now,
of...
Jimmy, we've got guests. We'll discuss matters of anatomy on our own time.
Time is the one thing you no longer have.
Yes. Well, they don't know that. For them, the future looms ever ahead, yet the cares of the day always win out over those of eternity.
He always was such an eloquent bastard.
I could talk myself out of anything.
Or into any skirt. Do you remember when
My
we were...
good man, you taint my reputation among these good folk.
They don't know you like I do.
And to think in life, I never went anywhere without him. Have you got a match?
Have light up in here, Prez.
You mean you can't smoke in theaters anymore? How uncivilized. Well, on with our story. My life in 6 parts. Part 1. Beginnings BC. Before Catherine. Robert Preston, Missouri, was born June 8, 1918 in the home state of the Boston Tea Party and the subsequent massacre, Massachusetts, of a French Huguenot Irish line. I was 15 when I dropped out of high school to become an actor. I performed at night at parked cars during the day at the Santa Anita racetrack, which is where Cecil B. DeMille later insisted he discovered me. Parking cars. Right. He discovered me like Heisenberg discovered uncertainty. You got no direction from DeMille, absolutely none. Thought I'd mention it. Where was I?
Pasadena?
Ah, yes. Catherine and I met at the Pasadena Playhouse. She was an actress, too. Oh, those first days were grand, with those bright brown eyes laughing at me. I loved her the moment I fell into those beautiful brown eyes. We were in 5 plays together, but never once the same scene. I did 42 shows in 2 years at the Pasadena Playhouse. Everything from new scripts to shows that had just come from Broadway. 42. That's one show every, what, couple of weeks? The ambition of youth. You know, Jimmy, when you're dead, ambition flies right out the window. One night, I was performing Harry Van in a comedy, Idiot's Delight. After the show, it happened. Oh, thank you. Where? Paramount. Well, yeah, I've heard of Paramount. A film contract? Well, thank you, sir. Thank you. You won't be disappointed. Thank you. My first film. I signed my first studio contract in 1938 at the ripe old age of 19. After recognizing me for my work as a comedian, Paramount immediately typed and cast me as a heavy. In my first film, King of Alcatraz with Anthony Quinn. Then in picture after picture after picture. Time for some music, don't you think? There was an occasional diversion. In Typhoon, Dorothy Lamour and I wore matching sarongs. The ads were meant to seduce. Red lips, white arms, black pearls, tidal wave, forest fire, a tornado of tropic love. But we couldn't even show our navels. Such were the days during the film's censorship code. One day we may sail far away from this magic island shore. And yet we will keep in our hearts one song forevermore. The poems of paradise that sing high above, caressed by the breeze, sweet music of love. The gossips started romance rumors. It wasn't long before Dorothy and I started to take them seriously. How did she put it in her memoirs? Oh, yes. We made beautiful music together. Oh. She was much more imaginative than that in real life. But enough background. Let's move on. That's your cue. Part 2. My studio years, otherwise known as the DeMille period. Subtitled, Let's Get Hitched, Partner. Paramount was in the early years, very paternalistic. The roles that you did were the roles the studio wanted you to play. Harry Van from Idiot's Delight was a song and dance man, but the studio never let me play anything like that because they already had Bing Crosby and Bob Hope and Johnny Johnson. Then, Gary Cooper and I did a little picture called Beau Jest. Gary Cooper was a marvelous actor. Every gesture, every movement was calculated. He's the best motion picture actor I've ever worked with. Beau Jest. Something you should know, Catherine, I never told you. Before we were married, well, you see, Beau Jest, it was a rugged picture. You had to be tough. All the men in the cast were out on location in the middle of the Mojave Desert near Yuma, Arizona. Cast and crew, men only. From the beginning, the director ran a bus to the house of ill fame in Yuma. The men, really appreciated it. I love the ladies. I love them all. No, I do. I can make them blush like Massachusetts in the fall. I love the ladies. Their sex I sing. I can make 'em leap like Allegheny creeks in spring. So let us blow brass trumpets and beat bass drums and fiddle at each other's ear. For the gentlemen love the ladies love 'em back, and that's how the devil we're here. Yes, sir, at every point of do or die throughout our male existence, a lady with a helping hand has come to our assistance. All together shout it out for all the world to know, and if we don't make heaven, we'll say, what the hell? We've all shared a first-class berth right here, where the gentlemen love the ladies love 'em back, and that's kind of heaven on earth. Yes, sir, that's kind of heaven on earth. Yes, Catherine, you are still my heaven on earth. If working with Gary was a joy, working with DeMille was hell. Fortunately, I broke in with the greatest girl in the world, Barbara Stanwyck. She made the filming of Union Pacific quite a bit more bearable. We all did our own stunts, you know. Barbara left on and off moving railroad cars and allowed herself to be chased by stampeding buffalo. Northwest Mounted Police was another story. It was the Coop's first film, and mine, in Technicolor. DeMille's too. DeMille only understood the spectacular crowd scenes, otherwise he didn't know what the hell he was doing. In the small interior shots, he'd yell, roll 'em, and we'd go through the scene, and he'd yell, cut, print it, and that was it. No direction, no retakes, no rehearsals. DeMille was a big fraud as far as I'm concerned. I vowed I would not work with the man again. DeMille, Samwood, Hitchcock, they were tyrants. Hold your horses, Catherine. We're coming to it. By 1942, I'd made 17 pictures in 5 years, most of them westerns, as the bad guy. You ready? Yep. Great. Here's a sampling of my work to date. You're a woman after my own heart, Molly. Tougher than wagon leather, smarter than spit, and colder than January. Two things in this world scare me, and a good woman's both. What do you mean, do I love you? Sure. On my father's honor, whoever he was. You get this far out in the brush and they're all pretty. Here, Molly, you never can tell when you're gonna find a bullet. You don't have to shoot straight when you shoot so often. I don't need to end toes up in the sun. Got him. That's just to show you that when I aim at something, that's what I hit. When I hit something, that's what I aimed at. Next time you shoot somebody, don't go near them until you're sure they're dead. It's no use, Molly. I've drawn the black deuce. I'm just a busted flush. Man can't die with something on his mind. See, some men got a craving for gold and silver. Others need lots of land with herds of cattle. And there's those that got the weakness for whiskey and for women. And you boil it all down, and what's a man really need? Just a smoke and a cup of coffee. I've been killed already. I'm just stubborn about dying. You're all aces. Bucko. I was a kid. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But if it was in the script, I would do it. I'd ride a horse very, very well while the camera's rolling. But I never ride for pleasure because I don't enjoy it. And horses know that. Yes, Catherine, it's time. After 10 years, I would get out of my studio contract. In the meantime, I had more important things to do. No, you're getting ahead of me. Top it, right? There. Now, my dear, may I introduce my fiancée, Kay Feltus. Not the most lyrical name in the world, is it? That's why she changed it to Catherine Craig. We both had a passion for the theater back then. We were drawn together in one of those flashes of permanence that are hard to explain. Married on November 8th, 1940, we settled down in a big Brentwood house that had a swimming pool in the backyard and nothing but a bed and a card table inside. That card table got a lot of use. Growing dark near a flower market, and you wore a rose in your hair. I saw you smiling there by my side, and though I was shy when I saw you smiling, all at once the world opened wide. Thousands of flowers came down from the sky. Roses were growing right under my eyes. Thousands of flowers will grow. Catherine used to be an actress, and a good one. But we only did one film together. Variety Girl. That was hardly a film, really. It was more a showcase for Paramount's current talent. And the studio avoided the usual starring in alphabetical order diplomacy and hit the issue head on, telling its 20 stars and the viewing public exactly how they rated us. I was 17 out of 20. Very funny. I was playing small roles in small films, including a series of war films, all forgettable. Then, I got top billing in a B movie called This Gun for Hire, which made an immediate star out of Alan Ladd. Yeah, that was life in L.A. To tell you the truth, I was getting tired of Hollywood. To tell you the whole truth, it was getting tired of me. I was the prince of B-movies, playing the best friend and not quite getting the girl, Western after Western. Same girl, different horse. I needed a break from this celluloid jungle. Ooh, and I got one. In fact, the whole nation was stirred from their preoccupation with the daily routine. Now, Maestro, I got my break before my contract ran out. In duty to my country, WW2, 9th Air Force, 555th Bombardment Squadron, Captain Robert Preston reporting for duty, sir. Enlisted for 3 years, sir. As an intelligence officer, sir. I'd like to think I'm intelligent, sir. Hello, England. Hello, Belgium. Hello, France. Hello, Mom. I was a wing commander in the Air Force. I trained our pilots on what they could expect from the Germans in a fight. Not that I knew what they could expect. What the hell did I know? I was 24. I only knew what they told me. The Germans will kick your ass if you don't kick theirs first. But I loved my country. Still do. Although you might say in my current situation, I'm a man without a country since there are no geographical boundaries. on the other side. Part 3, my backdoor career and the 7-year itch a little early. When I got out of the service in 1946, I was no longer a kid. Wars do that to boys. I was just happy to be alive. But I was still a patriot. Patriotism is a rare form of loyalty. Catherine used to be an actress. Did I say that? While I was out and away in the service, she was quite busy making movie after movie. When I came back, she gave it all up. You talk about loyalty. She did what women were supposed to do in those days and sacrificed her career to her marriage. She gave it all up for me. You see, she loves me. She's always loved me. She loves me. In marriage, someone has to be a giver, someone a taker. I'm a taker who married a giver. Unfortunately, I could take more than she could give. Oh, you got trouble. Right here in River City. It was 1950. Ronald Reagan was still just an actor. I went to England to make a film, a thriller called Cloudburst. Rent it. You won't be disappointed. What? No. You mean it's not available yet? No. Well, anyway, I was green with envy because the British film actors would, when the shooting for the day was done, race off to do a stage show in the West End. We don't have that kind of setup here. Our geography being what it is, LA is for film, New York is for theater. I knew when I got back to the States I'd have to choose, but how? In my position, I couldn't go begging, and no one was going to ask me to audition. So how the hell could I do it? Back in New York, from London, I ran into Jose Ferrer at a cafe. Oh, fine, fine. How's that beautiful wife of yours, What? You're looking for someone to replace you in the revival of 20th century on Broadway? But Jose, it's a hit. You're right. Buy low, sell high. Would I? Would I? I made this napkin. This is a contract, Jose. As far as I'm concerned, it's a done deal now. I'm in. It was a calculated risk. I felt I was a better actor than I was given credit for, but I knew I had to prove it. I opened in 20th Century in June 1951. Now no one in New York knew me as an actor, really, except for the films I'd done, and most of those were westerns. So all the critics came back to review the show just to watch this cowboy actor fall on his ass. How dare he try a comedy? They wrote marvelous notices, mostly because I think they were a little bit surprised. So it was sort of like sneaking in the back door. From Broadway back to Hollywood, the Lady Gambles gave me the chance to work once again with Barbara Stanwyck. She helped me out a great deal, both professionally and personally. She was the first big star with whom I worked. But there was no big star act with her. There was nobody else quite like her. For the rest of my life, I would never step on stage or in front of a camera without wearing the St. Genesius medal she gave me during the filming of The Lady Gambles. If he is the patron saint of actors, she, in my opinion, is the patroness. But getting back to the 50s, I worked with Walter Brennan, Danny Thomas, Mickey Rooney, and DeForest Kelley of Star Trek fame, and Martha Scott. You may not remember her, but I can't forget her. We did a little movie called When I Grow Up. Well, I'll let you know when I grow up. Let me just say that Martha was a marvelous woman, both on stage and off. She was an extraordinary giver. One more film with a leading lady who, like me, was having a revolving door career in Hollywood. Anne Bancroft would go on to seduce Dustin Hoffman in The Graduate. The lucky bum. But the film we did together, however, Savage Wilderness, was a routine Western. It reminded me I was not where I wanted to be. I never was very good at playing the Hollywood game. I didn't want to learn how. Life is too short. I'm a straight shooter. I don't like the bulk duty. So I made the brick. I gave up on Hollywood and moved to New York. Catherine turned over our home in Brentwood Heights to my folks and joined me in New York. We got an unpretentious apartment in the East 60s. Home, after all, is where you hang your wife. Pack up the present, look to the future. One thing I know is true. The best day of all is the day that is on its way, waiting for you. The best day of all is the day that is on its way, waiting for you, waiting for you. No, what do they say?
We bury our actors in unmarked graves.
He's gone a bit morbid since he's been dead.
Oh, and you haven't changed one iota.
Unmarked graves. A grave. Maybe that's what Stonehenge is. A memorial to the dead. Stonehenge is made with Saracen stone. Did you know that? Saracen stone is 3 times harder to work than granite. Hoo-hoo. That's a memorial that'll last a good long time. My life is also written in stone, and even now, like Stonehenge, it's still a mystery. Nothing is more complex than the unknown. It masquerades as the unknowable. Sort of like women.
Oh, you've known a lot of women, Prez.
Funny. Too bad you can't have sex after death, eh, Jimmy?
Yeah, Alexander the Great.
Cleopatra.
Hammurabi.
Helen of Troy, Joan of Arc. No, it's a good thing. Yes, Catherine, we're moving on now. Part 4. Something miraculous my way comes. On the verge of my 40th year, the folks at the New York City Center asked me to do Sky Masterson in a revival of Guys and Dolls. It was a 2-week run. Now, I only did plays, not musicals, so I told him I'd do it if I didn't have to sing any songs. Well, of course, that was impossible. So, for a reason as simple as that, I turned it down. Now, here comes the miraculous part. A man who'd been a flautist in John Philip Sousa's band, and a piccolo player in Toscanini's orchestra, who had composed symphonies and written several pop songs. Well, here's one you may recognize. I kiss the rose kisses me, fragrant as only a rose can be. Please take the kiss that comforts me, back to the one I love. Well, anyway, this man, who at 56 had never ever written for the musical theater, composed a little piece of Americana based on his life growing up in Mason City, Iowa. I nicknamed this man Glory because he was always smiling, but the world knew him as Meredith Wilson. And the musical he wrote was, all together now, come on, Wrong. It was called The Silver Triangle. No joke. Good thing he changed it to The Music Man. The story of his writing The Music Man can be found in Meredith's book, but he doesn't know the territory. I'd forgotten. He originally wrote a whole nother set of lyrics for 76 trombones based on ancient instruments. Anyway, it's a great read. You can pick it up at the library. It is still available, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
Thank you. But after he finished writing it, after Kermit Bloomgarden had agreed to produce it, and Morton DaCosta had agreed to direct, they had a big problem. Who to cast? Now, you can't find many guys around in our business anymore who use their own judgment. No judgment anymore, no taste anymore, no guts anymore. But Kermit Bloomgarden, the producer, was old-fashioned that way like his battered lucky hat. And Meredith Wilson was as straight a fellow as you can find, like the walking stick he never went without. And Morton DaCosta, veteran Broadway director, anybody who really knew him called him Teak, always had that thoughtful look in his eye like the incarnation of what he was thinking would, at any moment, appear coming over the horizon like the sun at dawn. The three of them brainstormed. Of course, I see Danny Kaye in the part. You know who really is Harold Hill? Dan Daly. You think Gene Kelly would be anything but terrific in the part? And don't forget Mr. Broadway, Mr. Ray Bolger. And then the offbeat casting. That's the real fun. You give me 40 pounds off a Jackie Gleason, and there's a Harold Hill. Milton Berle. Did you ever see Uncle Milty play legit? Only one of the best actors you ever saw. No, sir. Best actor you ever saw is a guy by the name of Jason Robards. And he sings a little. Did you know that? Why, so does Art Carney. Why, he'd tear your heart out. The guy with that convincing kisser is that little old TV guy by the name of Bert Parks. Even Wally Cox didn't escape consideration. Notice, my name didn't come up. Well, Ray Bolger loved it and said, "Hello? Yes, I'll do it. But I need 15 minutes in the second act." "What for?" "So I could sing Once in Love with Amy and a few other of my songs." "Hello? Hello?" Both Kermit and Teak had seen me in a couple of shows in Philadelphia. So when they decided to stop looking for a musical performer and go with an actor, they thought of me. They gave me the trouble number to audition with, which for an actor is the easiest thing in the world. Friends, may I have your attention, please? Attention, please! I can deal with this troubled friend to the wave of my hand, this very hand. Please observe me, if you will. I'm Professor Harold Hill, and I'm here to help you make a few $100,000. They were flabbergasted. Meredith, who wasn't at the first audition, wasn't impressed when they called him. He only knew me from my B-movie career. They sent him a telegram saying, "Wait till you hear him." Oh, think, my friends, how can any pool table ever hope to compete with a gold trombone? Rah, 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 da, 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 rah, rah. Remember, my friends, what a handful of trumpet players did to the famous, fabled walls of Jericho. Oh, billiard parlor walls come tumbling down. Oh, a band will do it, my friends. Oh, yes, I need a boys' band. Do you hear me? I say River City's got to have a boys' band, and I mean she needs it today. Well, Professor Harold Hill's on hand, and River City's going to have her boys' band, as sure as the Lord made little green apples, and that band's going to be in uniform. Hi. Oh, yeah, we had a great flight. Call me Bob. Never did figure out a very good nickname for Meredith, huh? Yeah, Meredith, that's a tough one. Wouldn't dare shorten that to Meredith, now would we? Can I dance? My approach has always been, if it's in the script, I can do it. But we can get acquainted later. Shall we sing? You got trouble, my friends. Right here, say trouble right here, River City. That was it. Meredith jumped up at the end of the number and shook my hand till it nearly fell off. "My God," he said, "we found our Harold Hill." Now, if I'd done 2 weeks the season before of Guys and Dolls, would have taken all the excitement away from a straight actor doing his first musical. I was batting 1,000. Catherine, I got it. A starring role in a Broadway musical. Broadway star. Just the sound of it sends chills up my spine. I'm on the verge of making up for all those dismal years in Hollywood. It feels sensational. Johnny, Willie, Teddy, Fred. And you'll see the glitter of crashing cymbals. And you'll hear the thunder of rolling drums and the shimmer of trumpets. Gra-da-da! And you'll feel something akin to the electric thrill I once enjoyed when Catherine, solid. Peggy Lee, the great seductor Martha Scott, and Glennis Johns all came to bed on the very same unforgettable year. There was a pandeon and a pick-a-pike. There were little musettes and big calamos. There was even a basset horn with a long drum horn and a taper blown beneath the nose. There was a nolus flute and a flute of beck and a glittering croom horn wonderfully played. Then I casually stepped inside of the only awful Clyde just in time to save the big parade. I'll show DeMille. I'll show the studio. The theater is all I care about. And you too, of course, Catherine. You have to join me in this, my new life. The others, they meant nothing to me. Catherine, don't leave me. Catherine, not here, not now. Catherine! This is not what I want. Either I am closing my eyes to a situation I do not wish to acknowledge, or I am not aware of the caliber of disaster indicated by the presence of a woman in my vicinity. You see, the trouble with resisting temptation is it may never come again. Oh, you got trouble. Why, sure, I slept with Joan Crawford. But she slept with every male star at MGM except Lassie. Opening night in Philadelphia. The magic is gone. It's 3 a.m. Hello. Kermit. John Schubert called at this hour? What did he say? Try and get a hold of Ray Bolger, only thing that'll save your show. Great. Thanks, Kermit. Teak, good morning. No, I'm still up. Oh, you're not. Sorry. But listen, I've been thinking about something. Well, the railroad song it's seen at the top of the show, it's not working. Well, the orchestra is chanting these intricate rhythms and the actors are echoing them and the audiences are cold to it. It's not drawing them in. Oh, you're thinking about throwing the whole number out? Gee, that's a shame. Well, whatever you think is best. What? All right, I'll go the hell to bed. See you in the daylight. But Teak doesn't throw the number out. At the last minute, he gets a brainstorm. He throws out the orchestra. Look, what do you talk? 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 Gone, gone. Gone with the hogshead, cask, and demijohn. Gone with the sugar barrel, pickle barrel, milk pan. Gone with the tub and the pail and the tears. Did you ever meet a fella by the name of Hill? The audiences ate it up. Why, sure, I'm a billiard player, certainly mighty proud to say. I'm always mighty proud to say it. I consider that the hours I spend with a cue in my hand are golden. Help me cultivate horses, and a cool head and a keen eye. Did you ever try and take and give an ironclad leap to yourself from a 3-railed billiard shot? But just as I say, it takes judgment, brains, and maturity to score in a ballpline game. I say that any boob can take and shove a ball in a pocket. And I call that sloth. The first big step on the road to the depths of degradation. I say first, medicinal wine from a teaspoon, then beer from a bottle. I opened the Music Man on December 19th, 1957, on the stage of the Majestic Theater. Orchestra seats were $8.05. SRO was $3. Gary Cooper was backstage to congratulate me. So was my Catherine. Walter Kerr, the brightest, breeziest, most winning new musical to come along since My Fair Lady enchanted us all. It's a wow, a nice wow. Look, magazine, America's answer to Rex Harrison. Ha! And the next thing you know, your son will be playing for money in a pinchbeck suit and listening to some big out-of-town Jasper, hearing him tell about horse race gambling. Not a wholesome trot race, no, but a race where they set out right on the horse. Like to see some stuck-up jockey boy sitting on Dan Patch, making blood boil well, I should say. Now, folks, let me tell you what I mean. You got 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pockets on a table. Pockets that mark the difference between a gentleman and a bum with a capital B, and that rhymes with P, and that stands for pool. I got a chance to create the role. How Harold moved, how he sounded, that sort of thing.